Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to another tropical update here by Adrian's Weather Forecast. This is going to be a little bit earlier upload because I'm going to out to Lake Lanier very soon. So I just might as well get the video before I go out to the lake so you guys can have this information and not wait a couple hours. But we're going to possibly talk about the potential for a tropical wave off the western coast of Africa that could potentially make the tropics a lot more active before we get into August. Maybe we can get 2 or 3 named storms at best before we get into August. So we're really watching at the possibility, very likely, for a tropical wave off the coast of Africa, bringing in threats for the tropical Atlantic. We're going to be talking about whether there's favorable conditions, when we can possibly have systems, and where they can go. So we're going to be talking about all of that in today's video. Before we get into any details, please subscribe if you're new to the channel to show your awesome support. Hit the like button so I know you guys like videos like these so I can continue to post them. And also hit that post notification icon so you get notified as soon as I make a video. Without further ado, let's get in this tropical update. Here we are taking a look at the 5-day graphical tropical weather outlook here for the National Hurricane Center in the Northern Atlantic. As you can tell, we have no disturbances at all for the next from now on to the next 5 days. So nothing on the Caribbean, nothing at all whatsoever. But I'm worrying about this potential area to possibly have disturbances within the next coming days and weeks. I'm not saying now because we don't have the most favorable conditions yet. I say within the next 72 hours, we can possibly start to see way more favorable conditions and maybe even a disturbance here, whether it's a 10% chance, whether it's a 40% chance, and then it heads out towards the western Atlantic, whether it hits the Caribbean, the U.S., or if it just falls apart midway throughout the tropical Atlantic. But I'm not saying we are going to see a huge surge of tropical activity here. I'm just saying it's very likely. Me and a couple of people have been really talking about the western coast of Africa now for the past coming days, and it seems very favorable, and it just seems it's about time that we have activity coming off the southern Saharan desert into the Sierra Leone area. Now that we checked out the National Hurricane Center and we have nothing as of now, let's go and check out now the satellite imagery and check out the potential disturbance or potential disturbed weather that we have off the coast of Africa, and whether that could be the first system off the coast of Africa or first disturbance, or if it's just going to fall apart. Here we are taking a look at the tropical Atlantic here, satellite imagery just off the eastern Atlantic. As you see, we do have a little disturbed weather right here in off the coast of Sierra Leone. That's where we have a little disturbed weather of a nice cloud cover, some tropical thunderstorms. Nothing major yet. It's not even a disturbance. I'm not saying it is going to be something, but it's something that we need to look at. It's not just a basic, normal thunderstorm. It's about this time of the year when we start to have those storms coming off the west coast of Africa. So this is a little something we need to watch out for. It does look pretty organized. We do have a lot of convection and vorticity on it, so it's just something to worry about. We're not worried about. It's just something to keep an eye on, really. As you see, the system is going to possibly head toward the north and not towards the west. So that's the only thing. It's going to be heading towards the Saharan dust, going to start heading towards a drier air. So probably will fall apart if it even becomes a disturbance at most. But that's really it at that point. Nothing at this point really major at all. Just keeping a look on that satellite imagery. Let's go and check it now at the visible imagery or true color so we can kind of see where this dust is. Here's all that dust, of course, to the north. You can kind of see it right here. All that dust is way to the north. That's exactly why I'm saying it won't be anything really major if it does form at all or becomes a disturbance. So here it is, of course, right here on the true color. I mean, obviously it's done, not tropical like. It's not something to extremely worry about. It's just something off the coast of Sierra Leone that it seems to have disturbed thunderstorms. But obviously, like I said, it's going to be heading towards the north into Saharan dust and going to be heading to a less favorable atmosphere. So this definitely won't be named. It definitely won't be a depression, in my opinion. I just see it possibly maybe just something to keep an eye on. But that's that. Now let's go and check out now all the SSTs here on NOAA and checking out all the favorable conditions that we have off the coast of West Africa for a potential tropical wave within the next days. So here is the SSTs here. As you see, we are seeing some nice temperatures across all the way from the tropical Atlantic to the Gulf of Mexico. As you see, we do see the warmest temperatures right here off the Bahamas, Cuba, and Florida. That general area seems to 30 degrees Celsius, so very warm temperatures up to 88 degrees Fahrenheit in these waters. So really nice hot tub-like water. But if we have anything out there, forget it. We can definitely have it'll be a huge difference if we have disturbed weather in this general area, because it will really blow up. But obviously we're not talking about that. We're talking about right here, the off the coast of Western Africa into the tropical Atlantic, this general square that I highlighted. That area is possibly seeing some mid-20s here, so high 70s, low 80s in Fahrenheit. So it is pretty favorable. Anything higher than 26 degrees Celsius is really favorable for a tropical system. But obviously, like I said, this storm's going to be heading towards, or this not storm, this disturbed thunderstorms will be heading towards the north. But that's not the only low pressure system that we're worried about. Obviously, if this is going to be a tropical wave, we're going to have multiple chances for systems, and most of those will be heading towards the west, towards warmer waters, not heading to the north. So it's not just this one system. This system doesn't become anything at all, which I don't expect. It's not like a huge bummer, because we have multiple other systems that can be heading in this area where we have 26, 27, maybe even 28 degrees Celsius here off the coast of Sierra Leone in the tropical Atlantic. Now let's go and check out everything on tropical tidbits, and as well as the Saharan air layer. Alright, here is the humidity here on satellite image, or not satellite image, on tropical tidbits, seeing weather. Obviously, where we had that most moisture and why we are saying this could become a tropical wave. As you see, we have that very warm air, as well as the Caribbean all the way near Morocco, with very dry air from that Saharan dust. So obviously, we aren't seeing the most favorable conditions near this area of Morocco, but this, where we have this potential tropical wave, that's going to be all the way near the south, near the Sierra Leone area, all of that. So we aren't really worried about that dust unless we have systems going to the north, and that's where it's going to fall apart. But we're going to mainly see all this moisture take it to the tropical Atlantic. As you see, in the next 12 hours, very favorable conditions, moisture-wise and the humidity. And as you see, the system does bring in a lot of vorticity. So that's the only thing. This could become a disturbance at most, maybe an invest at most. But I don't see it becoming tropical depression or tropical storm. It's just going to be too quick for that to happen. But it does have a fairly good amount of vorticity. You can kind of see how close those isobars are. So increasing in wind-wise. And then as it's going to go into some drier air, going to fall apart as I believe it's going near Algeria. I believe that's Algeria. I believe so. Correct me if I'm wrong, near the Morocco area. And then it's going to kind of fall apart. You can kind of see that. But that's obviously not the only system we're kind of worried about. We're not worried about, just that could form or become a threat off the coast of Africa. Because obviously this tropical wave is going to last more than a week. Or sorry, more than 2 days. By July 25th, we're having a huge second wave of moisture on this general area, and that's where we're going to have that other potential low pressure system to form right there. You can see it. Multiple low pressure systems can develop, and they do seem to have a lot of convection in it. And even by as we now get into July 28th, which is my birthday, we have a potential another system here off the coast of near Sierra Leone into the other areas out there into the western coast. And then we have a huge other wave right here into July 31st. But we are going to see a little break. Every other way, we're going to kind of see a little break of some drier air, but still, as of now, favorable possibly for a tropical wave off the coast of Africa after mid-July. Here we are taking a look at the Saharan dust. Now, as you see, within now later today at 8 o'clock, we are seeing a decent amount of dust all the way from the Caribbean to the Saharan desert. That's how it works. We're seeing a ton of dust, though. A ton of dust for the Western Atlantic. So we won't be seeing any disturbances near Cuba, near the Lesser Antilles, near U.S. Virgin Islands. That whole subtropical area, the equatorial Atlantic, won't have to worry about there, except that areas near, of course, the western coast of Africa. Within the next week or so, we can maybe have the activity ramping up, whether it's an invest or multiple invest. That's the thing that we don't exactly know 100%. We're just going off models here and predicting whether this could very well be a tropical wave. As we now get to tomorrow, not tomorrow, July 16th, as you see, very low amounts of demand now for dust in the Sierra Leone area where we had the potential storms. You can kind of see the storms are popping up right here. There is obviously going to be dust in the atmosphere, but this dust is not strong enough to withstand, or not strong enough to make a whole system just fall apart. This amount of dust is, this possibly is, but not this amount of dust right here. That's very limited amount of dust. So obviously there will be dust, but as you see, the system just goes straight up into that dust right there as it does strengthen, and then it kind of falls apart. But look at July 17th here. Look at July 17th. Let me actually play it again. July 17th. Look at all the dust that's gone away. It's very limited dust near that area. And the strongest amount of dust actually goes near Morocco and ends up, believe it or not, going to Spain. So the most amount of dust after the Saharan Desert will be in the northern part. Morocco, all those other areas up there, even Egypt. You guys can get some really nice amounts of dust by July 17th. All those other areas of northern countries of Africa. Gibraltar, you guys can get some nice amount of dust near that Spain area. So expect some nice dry air within the next coming days for that area near Spain, northern Africa. And look at the limited amount of dust here in the tropical Atlantic. Look at that huge difference. Very limited dust. Look at the whole Caribbean. No dust at all. That's a huge difference just within 72 hours. Like I said 2 days ago, by July 17th, expect really to no dust at all. And as you see, no dust in the Caribbean at all, except the southern part, and limited amount of dust in the tropical Atlantic. So like I said, you need to trust the process of this dust. It's going to take a while, a couple days to get out. But as you see, time is the key. Time is the key. And as you see, this whole tropical Atlantic is favorable now by July 17th. So just wait. July 17th to July 31st, that is that tropical wave right there. Multiple waves. It's not going to be just one and then done. It's going to be one, maybe then drier air for a day or two or a couple days, and then another wave, and then another wave. Obviously, we're not going to forget about the Caribbean, but this is the thing. This western coast of Africa, that is the region of focus for the next coming days now. So here's the wind shear here for Africa, the western coast of Africa into the eastern Atlantic. This is now the next 6 hours. Here is our system it's not a system, but here is our disturbed weather on satellite imagery right here. As you see, little shear in that general area. We're seeing stronger shear right here to the south, right there. That's to the south. So this system's like or not system. I don't know why I keep on saying system. It's not a system. This disturbed weather or thunderstorm area is north of that wind shear. And as you see, it does move north. You can kind of see those isobars very closely. That's why you can follow that system. And then it kind of just falls apart, really. It's not the shear. Like I said, it's going to be the dust. That dust near, I believe, Algeria, Morocco. I believe that's where it is. That's the country south of Morocco. That country, that's where we're going to be seeing that dust just making that system just diminish. Like, it's not the wind shear. It's not the SST, or it could be the SSTs as well. We're going to be seeing lower 20s in the Celsius area. But it's also going to be that wind or that dry atmosphere, really. As we now get into July 20th, we're going to kind of see a little pickup of shear. But obviously, one day of shear is not going to do much. But July 26th is look at July 22nd. Another low pressure system does form off the coast of Africa. Very little shear, warmer SSTs, and that heads towards the tropical Atlantic. Now July 26th as well, another low pressure system develops as well off the coast of Africa. And then we're going to see multiple more, really, just multiple more. But by July 31st, we have a very strong wind shear flow. That's exactly what I meant by breaks. We're going to have breaks of really strong shear and dry air. But obviously, that shear doesn't last forever. Let's go now check out the vorticity here. As you see, this don't say system, Adrian. This disturbed weather does have a nice vorticity signature right here. Let me tell you that. Me and Alex were seeing how this does have a nice amount of convection here. It's not impressive, it's not tropical, but it has a nice amount of convection. That's exactly why we have an eye on it. As you see, like I said, it's going to be moving north near that area up there near, I don't exactly know what those islands are. I actually forgot. As you see, it still has that vorticity signature. It actually doubles in size, but then it just falls apart. Here it's still right here, but it just kind of falls apart. Really, like I said, that's what the dust does to the systems. It makes it fall apart. July 20, I believe July 26 is also another day of focus. Obviously, it's an anomaly, so it's going to change every day. But it's been showing July 26 as a day of something. Look at this, July 26th, a nice vorticity signature right here. If you compare that to the wind shear, we don't have any wind shear on that day. We don't have any dry air on that day as well. And then as we look at now, July 29th as well, another day of potential vorticity of maybe a signature. But obviously, just because it has a signature doesn't mean it's going to be tropical. It's something to look at. It's like it's a supercell. It doesn't mean it's going to have a tornado. It's just something to look out for. And then July 31st, we have a huge vorticity signature, but that's inland. But obviously, the low pressure system can actually form inland and then become tropical once they arrive in the Atlantic. Now let's go and check out the future IR brightness here. As you see, this is where our system, or not, don't say system, this is where our disturbed weather is right here. Nice amount of convection, nice, also water vapor demand is pretty high as well. And as you see, there it is, heading to the north, and then boom, just falls apart, really. Just falls apart. And then we have something, of course, by July 20th, maybe something as well. But it's an anomaly, so it's going to change. So second to last thing we'll be taking a look is the precipitation rate. Just look at these disturbed thunderstorms and the tropical wave. Nice amounts of activity, tropical thunderstorms off that coast, which is where we have that potential, maybe highlighted area. I said maybe because it probably won't. It really probably won't, because it's gonna fall apart. I'm saying fall apart not as it's gonna be a depression then fall apart. I'm just saying it's just gonna like diminish really once it goes north. But we also have those other thunderstorms likely because it's a tropical wave. We have multiple low pressure systems. One July 22nd right there, and then another one right there on July 24th, another one on July 26th, another one on July 29th. This one, July 29th, this one really looks a little tropical. Obviously, it's days out. It's 14 days out, so don't panic or anything, but it's just something to look out for, because obviously tropical waves, they can they can make a huge difference on the list of named storms, just like that. Within a 2-week span, you can see 2 named storms, 0, or even 3. Who knows? As the last thing we'll be looking at is the monthly precipitation here for the Western Africa area. As you see, look at the tropical Atlantic. Extremely above average moisture here. Extremely. That's a ton of above average moisture, which obviously means favorable for systems to develop right there. And also this whole area right here where we are going to be seeing that nice amount of moisture there. So that will wrap up the video. Obviously, we aren't saying there are going to be huge systems off the west coast of Africa. I'm just saying potential tropical wave is very likely to maybe bring in a couple disturbed thunderstorms that the National Hurricane Center will maybe either look at or maybe even say it's tropical. So that is what we're going to look at for the potential for maybe the activity in the tropical Atlantic to maybe ramp up a little more. But this will be nothing compared to what August, September, and October will bring. But this could possibly, if this plays out the way we think, or I think, it could possibly be the peak of activity for July before August. Maybe 1, maybe 2, maybe even 3 named storms left for July. Hope you guys did enjoy the video, and bye guys.